So you know how when you're shopping online and looking at a ton of products, it's like some of them are just right there at the top, like they were meant to be seen.
For sure.
Today, we're going to look at why that happens, but not from the perspective of the seller.
Interesting.
We're going to take a deep dive into this whole world of what's called e-commerce SEO.
Okay.
So we can all understand why we see the things we do
Right.
when we're shopping.
I like that.
It's kind of like we're getting a backstage pass to how all this stuff works.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're going to break down like all the little pieces that make online stores work and not just like exist, but like actually do really well.
Yeah.
We're going to look at how they're built and optimized.
Right.
Even how some of them are like blowing up their sales.
Yeah.
Like totally exploding them.
With all the crazy tech that's out there now.
Exactly.
I mean, let's be real for a second.
Okay.
Shopping online is not the future anymore. It's now. I mean, think about this. 44%. Almost half of all shoppers online, they start on a search engine.
That's a lot.
It's huge.
It is.
And we're not even just talking about things near us. Like over half of people shopping online, they want stuff from other countries.
That makes sense.
And then there's like 34% of people buying something online, like every week.
Wow.
So like knowing how a store gets seen online, that's not just for businesses.
Right.
Like, that's for all of us.
Absolutely.
If we want to understand how to use all this stuff.
Yeah, totally.
That's kind of our mission today.
It is.
We're going to try and figure out how these online stores are doing so well.
That's the goal.
And hopefully, give you a better idea of how you find the stuff you do.
Exactly.
And maybe even change how you see those top search results.
I like it.
So, okay, let's dive into this.
Okay.
The first thing any online store has to deal with is, can Google even see it?
Right.
That's like the most basic thing. But if Google can't find the store, it's basically invisible.
It might as well not exist.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even exist.
Pretty much.
For anyone searching.
Yeah.
What's crazy is how many things can stop a store from even getting on Google's radar.
Oh, yeah. There are so many technical issues. Like sometimes the website is super slow.
Ooh, yeah.
I hate that.
Or the design is so bad you can't figure out how to use it.
Yes.
And then they use all this complicated code like JavaScript.
Oh, yeah.
Way too much of it.
I don't even know what that is.
And the whole structure of the website is a mess.
Yeah, it's like the online equivalent of a store with its doors locked.
Exactly. No one can get in.
Right.
It's the same online. If those Google bots, those little crawlers that scan websites, if they can't get in and understand what's there, then your website's basically hidden.
And these little technical details, they really matter.
They do. They really do.
Google has a tough time with pages that like load slowly. Yeah, like as you're scrolling and more stuff pops up. That can be tricky.
And if the website address is like all messed up.
Yeah, like the URL.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make sense, Google's going to be confused.
And some websites use so much JavaScript.
I know. It's like they're trying to slow things down on purpose.
Right.
It makes it so hard for Google to like properly look at everything.
There's this one quick commerce brand we looked at.
Okay.
You know, the ones that are like, we'll deliver in like 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Those guys.
They were having all these problems.
Really?
Yeah. They had what are called crawl traps.
What are those?
It's like these dead ends on the website where the Google bots get stuck.
Oh, that's not good.
And then they were using this thing called server-side rendering.
Okay.
But like not in the right way.
So basically the website wasn't loading properly for Google?
Yeah. And they weren't using structured data.
Which is like a way of labeling things for Google.
Right. So Google could understand what their products were.
Yeah. It's like giving Google a cheat sheet.
Exactly.
So what happened when they fixed all that?
Okay, so get this. In 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
3 weeks. They improved their indexing by 78%.
Seriously. That's huge.
And their organic search impressions went up 35 times.
Wow, that's amazing.
It wasn't just about showing up in the search results. It was about showing up for the right searches.
The searches that people were actually making.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So think about when you're browsing online.
Okay.
And you click a product and it takes forever to load.
Yeah.
Or the page looks all messed up.
Right.
That website might be having these exact same problems.
Makes sense.
It's not just annoying for you. It also tells Google that the website might not be so great.
Yeah, Google doesn't want to send people to bad websites.
Right. So once Google can see the store,
Okay.
then it's all about how the store is organized.
Yeah, organization is key.
Like, imagine using a GPS to get around a new city. If the streets aren't labeled right or the map is a mess, you're going to get lost.
Totally.
It's the same for an online store.
I see where you're going with this.
It's called site architecture.
Okay.
It's all about how the pages on the website are linked together.
Makes sense.
But if it's not organized well, it confuses shoppers and search engines.
Yeah, it's a lose-lose situation.
There are a few ways this can happen.
Okay.
First of all, if the website is hard to navigate, people are just going to leave.
Right. They're going to bounce.
Yeah, that's called a high bounce rate.
Exactly.
And then sometimes there are duplicate product pages.
Like the same product listed multiple times.
Yeah, and that confuses Google.
Because it doesn't know which page to rank higher.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And if category pages and filter pages, like if they aren't set up well, the store could be missing out on traffic.
Yeah, like people who are searching for very specific things.
Exactly.
I've definitely seen that before.
We saw this happen with a skincare brand that sold directly to customers.
A DTC brand.
Yeah, and they changed their site taxonomy.
Which is like the overall organization of the site.
Yeah, it's like how all the products group together.
Makes sense.
And they also improved their internal linking.
So how, different pages on the website link to each other.
Exactly.
Cool.
And it worked so well.
What happened?
People were spending 43% more time on the website.
Wow. So their session duration went way up.
And click-through rates on category pages went up by 61%.
So people were actually finding what they were looking for.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Have you ever been on a website and you just can't figure out where to go?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Or you see the same product listed over and over?
Yeah. Yes. That's so annoying.
That's probably because the website's structure is messed up.
Makes sense.
It's annoying for you. And it probably means the business is losing money.
Yeah, because people can't find what they want.
Now let's talk about the duplicate content trap.
Okay, what's that?
So imagine you're looking for a specific product online and you see the exact same description on like a bunch of different websites.
Yep.
Google doesn't like that.
Right.
It doesn't see it as helpful.
Interesting.
And this happens a lot.
More than people realize.
Yeah, sometimes it's because of little things in the website address.
Oh, like tracking codes or something.
Yeah, and sometimes it's because they have a bunch of slightly different versions of the same product page.
Right, like for different sizes or colors.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
And then sometimes businesses just copy the manufacturer's description.
Oh, I see.
Which makes sense.
It's easy.
Right, but Google sees it as like not adding anything new to the internet.
Right, Google wants unique content.
So it can hurt the website's ranking.
I get it.
We found this sustainable fashion brand, and they decided to fix this.
How'd they do that?
They wrote all their own product descriptions.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of work.
It is, but it shows that they care.
True.
And they also did this thing called canonicalization.
What's that?
It's a way of telling Google which page is the main one.
Even if there are similar pages.
Right. Clever.
And guess what? Their bounce rate dropped by 28%.
Wow.
And their SEO visibility went up by 54%.
In how long?
Just 2 months.
That's incredible.
It shows how important it is to be original.
It does.
So next time you see a product description, and it's like the same boring generic thing on a bunch of websites, it's not just boring for you.
Right.
It's also not doing anything for Google.
Because it's not adding any value.
Now let's talk about internal linking.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
This is how the different pages on a website link to each other.
Yeah.
It seems like a small thing.
It does.
But it's actually super important.
Really?
For how easy it is to use the website and for how well it ranks.
Yeah. It's like creating a web of connections.
I like that analogy.
So Google can understand how everything fits together.
Right.
And it helps spread something called link equity.
Link equity?
Yeah, it's like ranking power.
Oh, interesting.
But if the linking is messed up, it can cause problems.
Like what?
Well, sometimes you get what are called orphan pages.
Orphan pages.
Yeah, they're like pages that aren't linked to from anywhere else.
Oh, so they're just kind of floating out there.
Yeah, Google can't even find them.
Not good.
And then sometimes the links between pages, they just aren't clear.
So it's hard to understand how things are connected.
Right. And sometimes product pages, they aren't linked to other stuff.
Like related products.
Right. Or blog posts with good anchor text.
Which is the actual text of the link.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
We saw this home decor brand.
Okay.
And they really focused on improving their internal linking. And their organic traffic went up by 80%.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And Google was able to crawl more of their website.
So it was able to understand more of their content.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Think about when you're on a product page.
Okay.
And you see links to related items or blog posts. That's internal linking.
It's helpful.
It's not just for you, though.
Right.
It's also telling Google what's important.
So now I'm curious, how can websites actually control which pages Google can see?
Okay, so they can use a couple of tools.
Okay.
Like the robots.txt file.
Robots.txt?
Your no index tags.
See what those do.
The robots.txt file. It's like a set of rules for Google's crawlers.
So it tells them where they can and can't go.
Exactly. And no index tags.
Yeah.
They tell Google not to show certain pages in the search results.
Huh. Interesting.
But you have to be careful with this stuff.
Yeah, I bet.
If you're not careful, you can actually block important pages.
Oh, no.
Like product pages.
So no one can find them. And you can waste your crawl budget.
Crawl budget?
Yeah, it's like the amount of time Google spends looking at your website.
You don't want to waste that.
We saw this electronics retailer, and they optimized their crawl directives.
So basically they were more specific?
Yeah, about what they wanted Google to see.
Okay.
And they used canonical tags to manage duplicate content. And they actually ended up with fewer pages indexed by Google.
Really?
Yeah, like 40% fewer.
Huh.
But their qualified organic traffic went up by 33%.
So even though there were fewer pages, the traffic was more relevant.
Exactly.
That's fascinating.
It's like a librarian choosing which books to put on the shelves.
I like that.
You want to make sure the best stuff is easy to find.
Yeah, you don't want your best books hidden in the back.
Finally, let's talk about something that's often overlooked.
Okay.
Images.
Images.
Yeah. We all know product photos are important.
Of course.
But they also affect SEO. Yeah, like if your images are huge and they aren't optimized, they can slow down your website.
That makes sense.
And people hate slow websites.
Yeah, we all do.
So they'll leave.
Right.
Which hurts your ranking.
Got it.
And then there's alt text.
Alt text.
It's like a description of the image.
Okay.
For Google, so it knows what the image is.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It's especially important for image searches. And then there's structured data for images.
Which helps them show up in search results.
Yeah. And sometimes even with extra information.
Like pricing and stuff.
This furniture store we looked at,
they
optimize all their images.
Sure, they do.
They made the file sizes smaller.
Okay.
And they used lazy loading.
What's that?
So images only load when you scroll down to them.
Oh, that's smart.
And they added good alt text to everything.
Nice.
And it worked.
What happened?
Their page load time went down by 2.5 seconds.
2.5 seconds? That's a lot.
And their mobile conversions went up by 26%.
Wow, so more people were buying stuff on their phones.
Yeah.
That's huge.
We actually have a table with recommendations for image sizes and aspect ratio.
Aspect ratio.
Yeah, it's the ratio of the width to the height.
Okay.
Like a background image should be like 1920 by 1080 pixels.
Got it.
With a 16.9 aspect ratio.
Okay.
And a thumbnail image might be 150 by 150 pixels with a 1.1 aspect ratio.
Right, so it's a square.
These things might seem small,
yeah,
but they all add up.
To a better experience.
Think about when you're on a website and it's taking forever to load.
Ugh, worst.
It's probably because of images.
Yeah, those can be huge.
So optimizing images isn't just about making the website look pretty. Right. It's about making the whole thing work better.
Yeah, and Google notices that.
So as you can see, there's a lot that goes into making an online store successful.
Yeah, it's more than just putting up a website.
It's about technical stuff. Site structure.
Yep.
Original content.
Excellent.
Internal linking.
For sure.
And even images.
Wow. It's a lot to think about.
And all of this is happening behind the scenes.
Right.
To help stores rank higher in search results.
So it's not just luck.
No, it's all about strategy.
And it affects what we see as consumers.
Exactly.
This makes me wonder, now that we know all this, how will this change how we shop online?
Right.
What will we notice now that we didn't before?
I encourage you to think about that.
Yeah.
And maybe take a closer look at your favorite online stores.
See if you can spot any of these things we talked about.
Understanding all this really gives you more power as a consumer.
It does.
In this crazy online world.
Absolutely.